With very little skill, you can find quality information on the internet. In this video, I'll show you some of the best resources to use to become an expert on anything. Walking you through these resources, I'll be looking for information about free trade, an issue gaining importance in the 2016 election. To start, check out a resource with a bad rap, Wikipedia. Contrary to snooty opinion, Wikipedia is a great place to start your research. When you load a Wikipedia page, use it to get a basic understanding of the issue. This will give you search terms to use later, and you'll know how to engage in a dialogue. After you familiarize yourself with the topic, scroll down where you'll find the page's references. Here you'll find scholarly sources that inform the entry above, and these can be a research goldmine. To start, look for links with the Adobe PDF icon. These are links to the PDFs of content accessible for free. No subscription to JSTOR or LexisNexis is required. Once you find an article, browse through its intro to understand its main argument. Then search terms like summary and conclusion to find what the study found. This can be helpful when returning to the sources later for a closer look. Bookmark the article and name it something that references the argument or anything you found particularly interesting. Another great section of the Wikipedia page is the further reading section. This has links to other Wikipedia pages with related content. These pages offer additional understanding of the broader context of the issue, and you might find useful sources in their reference and further reading sections. In this case, there's an article about the tax burden caused by offshore accounts made possible by globalization and free trade. If you click on the link and scan through the pages, you can glance through the table of contents, if there is one, and skip to pages of interest. In this article, there are some sweet charts that outline the economic impact in concrete statistics, something I'm really interested in for my research. I'll bookmark. Another powerful resource, especially for political research, is a think tank. A think tank is an organization that publishes studies, reports, and briefs to inform policymakers on the issues surrounding their decisions. Think tanks hire distinguished staff and uphold rigorous standards to provide the best research. Often, think tanks have specific advocacies, so it's important to note a particular tank's biases. That being said, researchers for think tanks try to draw upon the most objective and credible sources for their work. The first think tank I want to refer you to is the Heritage Foundation. You'll find a longer analysis of this think tank at better.myfreesites.net. If you want to understand the conservative side of an issue, this is the best place to go. Think tanks like the Heritage Foundation don't always have the best search functionality, so I recommend searching their content by typing www.heritage.org, and then your search query. In this case, I'm looking for information on free trade, and because I know that a conservative group is likely to support free trade, I'll search for benefits. Early in the results, there's a recent article claiming evidence for the benefits of free trade. Keep in mind organizational bias and note what information might be neglected in the argument. This article includes some great statistical analysis, which I would expect from Heritage, but it may be neglecting the policy impact on the individual. Let's bookmark it and see what else we can find. Further down the search results, there's another article, this one focusing on the reasons for the previous statistics. Let's bookmark this as well and read it later. The next think tank I want to introduce you to is the Economic Policy Institute, an organization with liberal leanings. If I use Google to search EPI.org and ask for disadvantages to free trade, I find content like this gem, an interactive infographic showing the labor costs of free trade. If I decide in the end to argue against free trade, this would be a great resource to share. The second result looks like it describes the rationale behind the infographic, along with some overall criticism of free trade. Once again, keep in mind the organization's bias. I find it helpful to compare the arguments made by organizations with conflicting biases to find the answers I find most descriptive of reality. A third, award-winning think tank, the Brookings Institute, is a little more objective than the others. When I search free trade on their site, I get a lot of specific policy analyses, not broad generalities. This is helpful to the researcher, but takes a little more work. Here's an article with a somewhat broader scope that I can pull information from. And here's an article that makes a serious claim in favor of free trade generally. It looks like the author here debunks some fallacious claims made by others and some myths surrounding free trade. It will be interesting to compare these claims with claims against free trade policy. It also addresses the issue of jobs specifically and has a link to the full paper. As I dig deeper into the argument, I might want to download the full version and read it more thoroughly. Think tanks are a powerful resource for any research you are conducting. As you search Google, you can find a Wikipedia list of American and international think tanks to draw information from. Many public libraries allow you access to databases of scholarly articles that can be a great resource as well. In Idaho, libraries work through Libraries Linking Idaho at lili.org. The first database I want to access is EBSCO, Academic Search Premier. It's a large database with links to thousands of scholarly articles and periodicals that can really help your research. When you click on the link to the database, lili.org asks for your zip code and city of residence. Similar websites might ask you for your library card information. Once on EBSCO, you can type in search terms and find articles on the issue. When your search results appear, it's a good idea to limit your results to scholarly articles. These are articles that are reviewed by academics before publication and adhere to more rigorous standards. You can also adjust the range of publication years you'll find articles from. Here's an article about increasing the benefits of free trade and reducing its harms. Maybe there are both effects, and the issue comes down to execution. I'll save this one for later. I'm going to adjust my search criteria to find narrower articles. Let's see if we can find something that connects free trade and job growth, an issue we found in those EPI articles earlier. Interestingly enough, this leads me to another issue, free trade and food security. This article might give my research a unique edge. I'd also like to find information on free trade and wages, and here's an article about wage inequality produced by free trade. EBSCO also lets you do an advanced search, where you can search multiple terms from different sections of a paper. You can search for key terms in an article's title, and secondary terms in its abstract or its complete text. Here's an article from a periodical that presents an argument against the success of the North American Free Trade Agreement. An advanced searching has brought me this interesting article that connects gender disparity in free trade, a potentially neglected piece of the puzzle. Idaho libraries also have access to the Gale Reference Library. This is a good place to go to get an understanding of the historical and philosophical context your research falls into. For instance, you might read up on U.S. economic history as it relates to trade in the Gale Encyclopedia of U.S. Economic History, and start to draw your own conclusions based on your research and historical events. Gale has a list of several virtual references available. Here's a text on political philosophy that might be helpful. Understanding the workings of capitalism and the Marxist criticism of it might inform your opinion about free trade. Idaho libraries have many other resources to browse through. Depending on your research topic, many of these will be helpful. Finally, let's go to google.com/scholar. This is Google's version of an academic database similar to EBSCO. It works much like Google itself, but there are some things to know to make your research more effective. In the settings section of the site, you can adjust the number of results that appear per page, and you can link Google to a number of citation-making software options. Most importantly, you can link Google Scholar to a library with access to additional databases. Without linking Google Scholar to a library, much of its content will be inaccessible. But if you link it to a school library, you'll be able to access more of its content. In my case, I'll link it to my university's library. In Google and most other search engines, you can search for terms with exact wording by typing into quotation marks. This is helpful if you want to find something really specific in your search. You can adjust the range of publication in your search, exclude patents, and even create an alert which will send you an email whenever something new is published on a subject, keeping you informed on the latest information and current events. These are just a few of the resources available to conduct powerful online research and get information about any topic of interest. It doesn't take long to collect a good number of sources if you know a few important strategies. I hope this video was helpful in your goals to navigate your world better and better.